Dear colleagues, please welcome Diana Antonyan with her presentation.
Hi guys, my name is Diana and I'm a Scrum Master of a project with 64 developers, testers, Scrum Masters, architects and else. Today I want to discuss with you about how to manage big and small projects. What I want to discuss with you, so it's agile a little bit. We didn't play games with agile things. We didn't talk how agile is good and perfect. Just quick overview, what is it? And after that, detailed about our processes, how we're managing, how we're developing, and how we're consulting. So, first of all, agile. I want to try to be more interactive, so please clap or just clap who knows what is agile. Oh, so, okay. Basically, if talk about agile in 3 words, it's a flexibility, communication, interaction. So let's go forward. What I want to tell you, it's an enterprise agile. I want to tell how our processes can work really smoothly, or no, how we can implement real processes, because in a lot of our projects, we have custom decisions. Let's see. So, first of all, what I can see, the planning is a more important part of each project, and basically, we don't have planning. And unfortunately, let's see really how many layers of planning we should have. Started from the beginning of project. Started from the manager, came to client and see, hi guy, what do you want? What is your vision? What product you want? Then we can go to the next step about a roadmap, when team determines how break it up into multiple projects or releases. Then releases. Team defines and plans upcoming releases, and it's a really very critical point here, because I worked into 2 projects and I know how difficult it is to get functional requirements, how difficult it is to groom them, how difficult it is to estimate and assign them. Then sprint level, and here we say, we're working on Scrum because we have sprints, because we're sprint planning, daily meetings, then demos, retrospective, and we're working on Scrum, but basically not. And the last thing, daily meetings, that we have a lot of them. Some of the projects have several daily meetings when they're saying the same statuses to different level of management from client and from our side. And it's basically kind of mess. So let's see this structure of project from start to the end. What we need to try to implement, because I'm now talking from our experience. The main hard and difficult point is really planning and elaboration estimation. And now I split project into 3 stages: define, refine, sprint, and deploy. What is a define? Define, it's a kind of project start, you are going and the kickoff, elaboration, architecture assessment and design. So there are stuff which we are doing before the release start. But then you are going to the next step to refine. What you are doing during the refine, it's a kind of when we are saying grooming. So grooming is a refined procedure. It's a story elaboration. Important part is there for architecture elaboration, because architecture really very involved into define and refine processes. Then we're going to sprint and deploy, and here you can see, oh, there is our Scrum. But let's don't forget that we have Scrum only in 1 stage when we try to sprint and deploy. And before this, we have no Scrum and need to create processes that we don't have. And here, end-to-end delivery, what we can see. During refine stage, we need to plan, analyze the requirements, and then start to build them. Here is a Scrum where it's working. Then we go to validation and deployment, which is also not working, because when we have a sprints with requirements and planned sprints, it's working okay. But when the requirements finished and bug fix period is coming, Oh, how to plan them? Okay, bug came, let's do this developer, let's do this developer. I think it's a common situation when after sprint period you really don't understand what to do. Yes, and it's a serious problem. And here are ceremonies that can help us, and some of them we're really using and they're useful. Oh, big and difficult. So, define. What I said before, I think that planning is the most important part of the project. Started from planning is making everything. If planning is bad, then you got bad quality, broken deadlines there, and a lot of conflicts with customers. So what is a define and what we should do? Sometimes we said that, oh, client is not good. He didn't provide us functional requirements. I think it's a wrong terminology. It's a wrong sentence because client is not wrong. We are wrong because we have no process and we need to start to build them. Really, for example, I believe that all the projects will say that we have kind of these events and these activities and we're using this, but now in the perspective of our company and perspective of project, they're custom. So what we need to do in first step, of course, it's a kickoff, market roadmap, product roadmap, program roadmap. Then we need to move to architecture assessment. And architecture assessment is very important because we need to make very serious and deep analysis of requirements at the beginning of this. What we're trying to do, but because of lack of information from client side, we didn't. Then delivery and budget. It's more about delivery team sizing and the priority of features that to be rolled out. And the second part of define, it's a commitment. When project manager, client committed that we're starting release, we can start to do it because we have everything. The second step, it's a refine. When you groom your stories, and the first part, the part of on this part is very important to work with architects because here is emphasized the detailing of the prioritized user stories, delivering refined themes and estimates. And then it's an integrated plan where you take elaborated and detailed user stories and sequences them into waves based on the business priority. Here is your backlog is finalizing, and then you start your sprint and testing. And after starting your sprint and testing, you have such problems because you don't know how to manage your backlog, because you don't know. We use Scrum here, but now we cannot use Scrum because we don't have the bunch of stories that we can plan and start to do them. And we need to make and create right processes here to the further deployment. Oh, the next difficult slide. What is there? Define and refine stages is kind of one big stage split it into two. And here is the most important place, is architect place, where is going deepest analysis of the user stories. But as I mentioned before, for this we need them from the client. Sometimes we don't get them. What we need here, identify feature set, dependencies and priorities. Identify feature set with significant scope, business rules and complexity. Group functionality based on common features and development estimates into high-level release. Then we're going to story and architectural elaboration. Here you can see scheme, where we need to identify story dependencies across feature sets. Started from 2 weeks ago, our team has 7 teams into one project. And sometimes it's difficult to manage them because one team member starts to do one thing and the other team member, developers, start to do the same thing. And they cannot see these dependence, but they should. Okay, then calculate analysis, development capacity, constrained by the amount of resources, velocity, assumptions, and enterprise dependencies. So the next one, the story dependencies against release guidelines, and determine a weekly schedule plan. When we're going here, it's a wave and, final step It's a front-load complex pieces of functionality and high-risk integration point early during development. Basically, this is a really difficult plan. What I think that we need to go for this, move to this, because we need this kind of analysis. But we cannot start and do everything from this. We can start from the high critical things to try implement them, maybe kind of customly, and then try to integrate it as a really program structure. But we should start from tomorrow, even from today, because it gives us a lot of problems. Our biggest problem is when we cannot really plan our release. And now we have this. So here is a sample of team structure. You could say, but here we are. What is other guys? Why do we need them? Basically, yes, here we are. It's agile teams. So here am I, here are our architects, yes, developers, but we have guys who are behind us, who are managing all the processes. And let's go and see who are managing from the start to the end. It's layers of teams. So just understand them as flat. They are flat. They are not hierarchical. So leadership, most interesting is planning and stakeholder management. Here is our very important part of development. It's our DevOps, infrastructure, security. This team structure, it's not only our company. Project team structure is big understanding. So it's a client team, our team, testing team. We are project team. Let's move forward and see what these guys are doing. So end-to-end delivery is from our side. So we are developers, we're doing this. Here are our ceremonies. Then there is a support. I've put the different type of support because we don't have automated functional testing, or we don't have environment management, but by the way we have. So here are the competency and really activity of these guys. I don't want to go and tell about them detailed. You can see by yourself. It's a kind of planning and management, and portfolio management, and there are different plans, budget, and other. So here, when you are managing your project, I think it's more about project managers, I thought this. When you are managing your project, you should strictly understand what kind of governance structure you have. If you have low integrations, or you have no integration, that you need only enterprise architect, lead product owner, which can help you. But if you have some kind of integrations, flexibility in deployment, limited enterprise risks, then you need more people, because sometimes project manager needs a lot of people who can help him to manage this. And they can be from client side, but they cannot. And then we need to try to do something to involve them to our project, and the high risk. So you can see projects are mostly high governance structure, have high governance structure. Teams. Oh, yes, look at this slide. So here is how you can manage more detailed and what activities you should do for planning your backlog. It's a defined part. It's a big defined part that should be done before the release. And this part, you know, you need 1 month for doing this. Then it's a progress part. And there is a completion part of our sprint. Basically, it's you know, the thing that everybody I think know, that I don't want to go to details. Yes, and user stories. So it's user stories. You can just watch them. We need acceptance criteria, features, blah blah blah. So please check. I have no time. Sorry. And here, I want to thanks to whole my big team. It's difficult to manage really big teams, and their architecture board, Scrum Masters and leads who can help us to manage them, all the developers and testers. We tried to do this scam, and now really we are working on this. This is a scam. Really, now we have grooming process with estimations. Sometimes we have troubles, but now we really implement this. We have a strict understanding of development process, of testing and deployment. Thanks Max for Capado, thanks testers for their testing, because sometimes it's kind of crazy. They're testing in all the organizations. And here are the points that mentioned that we've done. Bum bum. Summary. And thank you. Thank you, guys.
Diana Antonyan, the third place. We're happy to have you here.